Most respected Thai, beloved Sangha, today is the 17th of March in the year 2021. We are on the second day of our monastic retreat in the Dharma Cloud Temple, the Upper Hamlet. Let us enjoy 3 sounds of the bell together. Dear Sangha, the motto for our retreat is come back here, come back to your home in the present moment and receive your heritage. So today I thought we might look a little bit, what is our heritage that we want to come back home and receive. So first of all, I take refuge in the Buddha and see what the Buddha had to say about this. And then I have to take refuge in Thai and see what Thai has to say about this. Thai mentions sometimes a sutra of the Buddha. It's called the Dharma Air. Dharma Dayada. It's a very short sutra in the Majjhima Nikaya. And you could say that it's not a deep meaning sutra. It's not about nirvana. It's not about emptiness. It's about our daily practice as a monk or a nun. And in that sutra, the Buddha only speaks for a very short time. And then, according to the Chinese version, the Buddha is probably already advanced in age. And he said that he has a backache. And he needs to go into his hut and lie down a little bit. So please, Shariputra, continue to give the Dharma talk. Yes. So, at the beginning of the sutra, the Buddha says to the monks, "Monks, be my Dharma heirs. Do not be heirs to my material things." A Dharma heir, material things, the word is amisa, So there are two kinds of heirs. You can be an heir to the Dharma or an heir to something material. So out in the world, we receive the heritage of our family. It could be property or possessions. So the Buddha says, monks, be heirs of my Dharma, my teachings, not of my material things. And then the Buddha said, out of compassion, I am asking, how can you be heirs to the Dharma and not my material things? And that is a question. It's a question for all of us to ask. And then the Buddha said, you have a lot of merit. And I think that what the Buddha meant by you have merit is, at that time, the Buddha was honored, was very well loved by the lay people. And therefore they made many generous offerings to the Buddha. And because of that, the monks received many offerings. And according to the commentary, they were becoming lazy in the practice. And the Buddha said, out of compassion, I'm asking this question. How can you be heirs to the Dharma? And when the Buddha said out of compassion, what he meant was that compassion for the world, the only way that the Buddha can help the world is if the Sangha is also helping the world. So the Buddha and the Sangha have to do it together. And if only the Buddha practices and the monks and nuns don't practice, then they cannot, there's no way we can help the world. So then the Buddha said, I will give you an example to understand what this means. And the Buddha said for instance, there are two monks who have been traveling, and they arrive at where the Buddha is, and they are very hungry and weak, and they haven't eaten anything. And the Buddha said that day, because they've been traveling, and the Buddha said, I have not finished all my food. There's some left over. Would you like to have it? And he said, here it is. And the first monk thought, I don't want to take the Buddha's food. I want just to receive the Dharma from the Buddha. And so he refused to take the Buddha's food. And the second monk took the food and ate it. And he felt very much better after that, much less tired. And then the Buddha said that the Buddha praised the first monk who didn't take the food, rather than the second monk who did. Because the first monk had received the Dharma heritage, and the second monk had only received the material heritage. So when I read this, I had to look deeply, and this looking deeply is part of my daily practice. Of course, we receive material heritage from Thai. Every time we eat a meal, we know that is Thai's material heritage. Because if Thai didn't teach the Dharma, how would we have the money to buy the food? And even if we go out and we teach the Dharma, we're only teaching what Thai taught us. So it comes from Thai. Everything material that we have, it comes from Thai. So the question I have to ask myself, and I am heir to many material things of Thai. And therefore I have to be very careful. And whenever I use any material thing, I always ask myself, am I at the same time receiving the Dharma? For instance, if I sit in Thai's hut, I have the beautiful scenery to watch. I'm very lucky. I'm a little bit spoiled by the brothers who let me rest in Thai's hut. But if when I have that privilege, I don't at the same time practice what Thai has taught me to practice, then I am receiving the material heritage, and I'm not receiving the Dharma heritage. And when I read that sutra, I think, oh, I'm not doing as well at all as the first monk who said, no, I don't want any material heritage. I just want the Dharma heritage. But actually, if I think about it, he would also receive some material heritage from the Buddha. But anyway, I'm not doing as well as that. So I have to call myself a third kind of monk. Someone who received the material heritage and the Dharma heritage at the same time. And then after having given that example, the Buddha retired and asked Shariputra to take over, because Shariputra also looked at the Sangha and knew what was happening in the Sangha, so he could continue the Dharma talk for the Buddha. And Shariputra said, in the community, there are elders who are practicing what the Buddha has taught. They are practicing to live in seclusion. And live in seclusion means to live with few desires, to live detached. Doesn't just mean to live alone. And then the Buddha said, and the Shariputra said, but there are also elders who are not doing what the Buddha taught. And then Shariputra said there are middling monks. Elders are those who have been ordained for 10 years or more. And middling monks are those who have been ordained for 5 to 10 years. And new monks are those who've been ordained for 1 to 5 years. So ordained as bhikshus. When I say monks, I also mean nuns. So don't think I'm not talking about nuns, yeah. But it's too much to have to say monks and nuns every time. So I'm just going to say monks, like the Buddha did. So this means that Shariputra had observed that in the Sangha there were elders who were not practicing. There were middling monks who were not practicing, and there were new monks who were not practicing. And at the same time, there were new monks who were practicing. There were middling monks who were practicing, and there were elders who were practicing. So when you look at the Sangha, it's generally like that. Well, you may see like that. I don't know if it's correct or not. But sometimes I say to myself, oh, it's only natural like that. We can't all be perfect. We can't all be practicing well. I think to say not practicing is going a bit far, but maybe a little bit lacking energy in the practice, lacking confidence in the practice. We see that at all levels, among elders, middling and younger ones. Thai talked a lot about transmission. Thai said that Thai is transmitting at every moment of Thai's life. The way Thai walks, the way Thai eats, the way Thai sits, invites the bell, everything is a transmission. And it's up to you, my disciples, whether you receive the transmission or not. So I have been fortunate because I have been close to Thai for maybe, I don't know how many years, nearly 30 years, maybe 28 years. So I'm very fortunate. And I think there were times when I didn't receive the transmission, and there were times when I did. So another thing that Thai said to us, that as monks and nuns, we don't have our own family, we don't have our own children. So we transmit. We still receive the transmission, and we hand on the transmission. And the ones we hand the transmission on to are our brothers and sisters, our younger brothers and sisters. So when we receive the transmission from Thai, it doesn't stop there. It is our duty, our responsibility to hand the transmission on. And Thai sometimes said that if we don't hand on the transmission, then we are bắc hiếu. We lack filial piety. So I also have to think about that quite a bit. Because if I do not manifest, if I'm not manifesting what Thai has transmitted to me, then how can I hand on to my younger sisters, my younger brothers? And we've relied on that heritage, has come down to us from the time of the Buddha, without a break, both as monks and as nuns. There hasn't been a break in the transmission. There have always been people there who receive and then hand on, receive and then hand on. So some of my younger brothers and sisters who haven't had the chance to be close to Thai, obviously you have to look at us, your elder brothers and sisters, to be able to receive the transmission from Thai. Well, fortunately, in our own time, we have many means of keeping Thai alive in recording of Dharma talks, videos, many ways. So you can still see Thai, but not as much as we could in the past. So that is our responsibility as elders. Is Brother Fab Ka here? Come, huh? Today I think we will be without a song, because the only person I know who can sing that song is Brother Fab Ka. So sorry about that. I think we should make this a bit round. So this is a peach. Cut in half. Yeah. This is the monastic sangha. This is the lay sangha. Before I went to the EIAB, Shuom drew a peach for me. It's more beautiful than this one. And Shuom said, you have to take care of the monastic sangha, first of all, and then you can take care of the lay sangha. So the monastic sangha needs to have a training. We offer training to the lay people when we lead retreats, but we need a training for the monastic sangha. And it should be all year round. So this is taking care of the monastic sangha all year round. And then Thai said that, of course, this is you Dharma teachers taking care of the monastic sangha by offering courses, teachings, practices to the monastic sangha. But you need to delegate some of you to go out and take care of the lay sangha. Yeah. Also, so you can take care of the lay sangha, take in turns to do that. So I think that is what we all want to do, but Shuom has a very wide vision, and we don't always manage to do exactly what Sri wants us to do. However, we should know what Sri's vision is, so that whenever we have a chance, we can always try and go in that direction. So to me, taking care of the monastic sangha means that I have the chance to teach the monastics the things that I have been taught, I have learned in my monastic life. And it's very nice if I can do that once a week. Now, before I would like, or twice a week, but not more than that. Now I can't do more than that. And throughout the year. So if we have, there are some times when we do retreats that we all have to come out here. So we in a way, we don't continue to take care of the monastic sangha, like when we had the activist retreat. We stopped our monastic program and we all came out and took care of the activist retreat. So that's good because that's also part of our training. However, we have quite a lot of retreats like the activist retreat when we all come out and help. So we have to stop our monastic course. And then after that, what do we have? We have lazy days. After the monastic retreat, we have lazy days. And sometimes before the retreat begins, we have a lazy day as well. So what that means is that since January, when we stopped our official 2-week lazy day, I have only taught one precept class. It's now March, 2 months later. So then I feel I am leaving the monastic sangha to go a little bit hungry. I don't know if they feel hungry for precepts class, but that's how I feel. So please think about how can we keep this going. Because if in 2 months we only have one precept class, we only have 6 precept class a year. Maybe less because so that I think is not quite fulfilling Thai's vision. It's wonderful for us all to go out and to help, but there are things that we need in our monastic training which have nothing to do with helping, which we need to nourish ourselves rather than helping the lay people. There's when I was in my early years in Plum Village, we had a beautiful tradition which I still want to keep if we can. And that was the tradition of Nyap Thak, solo retreat. Yesterday, a young sister said to me, "Oh, this week we have an opportunity to Nyap Thak." I said, I don't know how to translate Nyap Thak. It means go into your hut and practice on your own. And I said, oh, Nyap Thak in monastic retreat, playing ping pong, laughing and shouting together. I don't think it's very like Nyap Thak. But this morning when I was sitting inside Thai's hut, I saw some sister or brother sitting outside Thai's hut and just enjoying being in the present moment. And I thought, well, there is a little bit of Nyap Thak in the monastic retreat. I remember in 1990, when I was living in the Upper Hamlet, Thai said, Thai had to go away, and Thai said, would you like to Nyap Thak in Thai's hut? And that time I hadn't read the sutra on being a Dharma heir, so I said to Thai, oh yeah. I don't know if I should have said no. Now I read that sutra, yeah. Anyway, I did say yes. And I also had an opportunity to Nyap Thak in a hut. I don't think the brothers have it anymore. It's like in this direction. It's on a hill going down into the forest. Anyway, there used to be a hut there, and sometimes I Nyap Thak in that hut. And Thai said that it's good from time to time to have a week to be able to concentrate wholly on the practice. Because when you're work coordinator, for instance, you have to think a lot about, how are we going to organize the Sangha work? And you cannot sometimes concentrate wholly on your subject of meditation. So I sometimes suggest a week or 10 days Nyap Thak. And that is a wonderful gift, a wonderful heritage for us to be able to receive, to really get down to the practice. So you are in your little hut. Your hut. And this is the peach kernel. And the peach kernel is all around you. And you have a little shelf outside your hut. A door to go in and out. And there's this shelf here. That is to do with how tak, ho tak, how tak, ho tak, chú ho hả, giao huyền hả, ho hả. You don't have this, huh? How mean what? Yeah, I think it... But ho means like you support, huh? This doesn't mean support, right. Every day I learn some more Vietnamese, huh? Oh, all these years I got the wrong word. Okay, ho means to support. So you have someone who support your retreat. So to me that's very important. Sometimes I will say to a sister, you want to Nyap Thak? And I said, we'll give you someone to Ho Thak to support your... Oh, no, don't do that. I'll lose merit. Yeah, I'll lose merit. But Thai also said sometimes, when you Nyap Thak, it's not because you want to get up late in the morning. You want to eat the food that you like. It's so you can really hatu komfu. You can really get down to the practice. And that is why in the Plum village tradition, which we don't have so much anymore, but before, we have this person, Ho Tak. That is maybe some little novice will every day bring us food, put it on our shelf, and we will take it in and use it. So we don't have to bring a whole lot of food in our hut and our rice cooker and everything else and spend time every day cooking. We can just get down to the practice and rely completely on the Sangha to take care of us. And to me, that is something beautiful and helpful for the practice. And of course, if you need something, you need some medicine, or you will write a little note and put on the shelf, and your little sister or brother will read the note and then bring you some more water or whatever you need. And that is an advantage for the little brother or sister, because when they support you like that, they get their merit. You don't lose any merit because you're taking refuge in the Sangha. And maybe they practice all their mindfulness when they walk towards your hut, and when they walk away from your hut, and when they bring you the food, they serve it with all their mindfulness. So that is a big benefit for the person who's taking care like that. Yeah. Another thing is, some people who say they need to go away from the Sangha in order to nyap thak. But if you are inside the kernel, inside the Sangha, then you'll be sending out, let's hope, you'll be sending out your energy of practice, and it will go into the Sangha. So there's energy coming out from you into the Sangha. And at the same time, the Sangha is all around you practicing. So the energy is coming into your hut. In the past, we used to have retreats for Israelis and Palestinians. And just some of us would take care of them, not the whole Sangha. But always the energy of the Sangha was coming into us as we took care. And when we nyap thak, when we do that kind of retreat in a little hut, we come back to our mind. It's an opportunity for us to be able to take care of our mind, and of course at the same time our body. I heard that one sister told me that now in Vietnam there are many monks and nuns who like to build a little hut up on the mountain in a beautiful place, and then they can go up to their mountain retreat. But for me, the most important thing, the heritage that I have received, is to be able to take care of my own mind. And I don't need to be outside the Sangha, far away up on the mountain, in order to be able to take care of my mind. But there are times when I need to retreat. And at those times, it would be good if in the Sangha we could have a little hut for those of us who need time to come back and look deeply into a subject of meditation. I think that is our heritage that we all need and we all deserve. I think that in our list of 51 mental formations, that list was augmented by Thai. And Thai added some mental formations that come from the Theravada tradition. And one of them was Kamaniya Chitta, I think. So Kamaniya comes from the word karma, and it means you can do something with it. You can do something with your mind. Chitta means your mind. So it means your mind that is pliable. And now I forgot what it is in Vietnamese. It's a little bit like mem ye. You can, it's plastic. So we all know that the brain is plastic. The neural transmitters in the brain can be changed with our practice. They didn't know about neuroscience in the time of the Buddha, but in the Anguttara Nikaya, there is a sutra and it's all about the mind, and there is nothing, O monks, that brings about more suffering than a mind which is not kamaniya, which you cannot manage, which is not pliable. And there is nothing that brings about more happiness than a mind that is kamaniya, a mind that is pliable, that you can do what you like with it, you can do what you choose to do with your mind. One meditation that I enjoy very much from Blooming of a Lotus, that I practice when I have a bit of time on a lazy day, is the meditation on taking care of the organs in your body. It is like giving yourself a massage with your mind. It takes about an hour to an hour and a half to do that meditation. And first of all, you see yourself as a 5-year-old child. What was your body like when you were 5 years old? Oh, it's difficult for me to feel that now, but with some concentration I can. And then you see yourself at 75 years old. Well, not so difficult. Almost there. And then you just go through each part of your body and see the state of that body, of that part of your body, aware of the state of my heart. And that takes me time, because it's not something I can do with my intellect alone. I have to feel deeply, how is my heart now? And sometimes I see some things that are not so pleasant. I'm quite surprised. I see that my heart is having a hard time. And the same is true with my lungs and my liver, my intestines, all the parts. Sometimes when I use my store consciousness to look deeply, I will see that that organ is not doing so well. And then I have to stop, and because the next part of the exercise is caring for my heart. And I have to ask my heart, how can I care for you? And I have to wait for the answer to come from alaya consciousness, what I can do better to care. Yeah, so it is wonderful that meditation can be a help, a tremendous help for us in healing our body. And when I do that meditation, I recognize how the body and the spirit are closely connected. Sometimes it is said that our body is like an altar for our spirit. And of course we have to take care of the altar in order for the spirit to have a place to rest in. And so when the Buddha talks about receiving our heritage, our Dharma heritage, that is, we see that there is a distinction in that, a discrimination in that, because it's not a deep meaning sutra, but all the same it's a sutra we really need to practice. So this means an inheritor of material things. And this means an inheritor of the Dharma. And so we feel that there is a discrimination between material and Dharma, between spiritual and amisa means to do with the flesh, to do with the fleshly body. And that we need to take care of the spiritual and then we forget about taking care of the fleshly, of the material. I remember when visiting the nephew of Ajahn Chah, who is the abbot of a monastery very near to PV, Thailand. So we can go and visit him. He's very jolly monk. And that in that tradition, the monks, they practice eating once a day, and but they're vegetarian. Those monks are all vegan or vegetarian. And the lay people come in large numbers to visit that monk. And they bring a lot of sweets, candy. And he has a big box of candy by his side. And when we come and visit him, he'd take a handful and throw, and we'd try and catch the candy. Anyway, one time I went to visit him with some other sisters, and he said, "You sisters don't spend too much time worrying about food." So don't spend too much time worrying about this. And then in the Guishan, Guishan, somewhere say the body is not, the knot is not important. Why do you spend so much time caring for the body? Something like that. So when the Buddha gives a teaching, it's like a medicine. And when the Buddha sees that the monks are not receiving the heritage of the Dharma, not practicing the Dharma, the Buddha has to say, stop giving so much attention to this and give your attention to this. Because this is what will lead to liberation of the mind. And that is why we become ordained. We don't become ordained in order to receive offerings, in order to receive praise for giving good Dharma talks. What other thing we don't become ordained for? In order to become able to practice deep concentration and be praised for that. We become ordained for one thing, and that is the vimutti citta, the complete liberation of our mind. And in order to liberate our mind has to be kamaniya. It has to be something we can direct and guide it in the direction we need it to go. So it's part of our daily mindfulness to be able to do what the Buddha was doing for his disciples, and to be able to see, am I going too much in the direction of amisa? Am I going too much in the direction of material things? And am I neglecting spiritual things? Am I neglecting the spiritual dimension? Am I giving too much energy to the non-spiritual? And only we can answer that question for ourselves. So the question that the Buddha asked the monks, how can you be inheritors of the Dharma and not inheritors of the material things is a question we have to ask ourselves every day. Of course, this body is subject to decay and is impermanent. And there will be a time when we have to lay down this body. So if we don't have the spiritual strength, the spiritual power to do that, then we will suffer. So this morning I forgot my herbal tea. It's a new kind of herb that you can only pick at this time of year. I was really looking forward to drinking it yesterday, but this morning when I left Lower Hamlet, I left my tea behind. So when I remembered, I spent quite a few minutes thinking, oh, I'm not going to have my tea. And then I remembered, what am I spending my time thinking about this? I should be enjoying my breathing, enjoying the early morning. It's so beautiful. So that is a time when I have to receive the spiritual inheritance. And throughout the day there are things I have to receive from the spiritual inheritance. And don't get so concerned with material things. But our mind, it has a tendency to concern itself with material things. Manas has a tendency to be always thinking, I. And we practice to make our mind plastic, pliable, so that when it starts to go in that direction, or where's my tea? What can I do without my tea? Then stop, bend it back, is pliable. And when I do that meditation on the different parts of my body, massaging each part of my body, the last part of that meditation is breathing in. I care for my brain. Breathing out, I smile to my brain, or something like that. Yeah. One time I was watching on the television, that's a long time ago before I ordained, some surgeons doing an operation on somebody's brain. And I look and I thought, it's so beautiful. The brain is something so beautiful. Yeah. Anyway, so when I practice breathing in, I care for my brain. I recognize that there's something very beautiful working all the time and giving rise to so many thoughts. And then when I practice care for my brain, I feel it needs a rest. And at that point, I let my brain rest. It doesn't have to think about anything. It can rest completely in the present moment. So that is also something to do with a brain that is a mind and a brain, they go together. Yeah. Let your mind have a rest.